Alright, so this is the Epson EcoTank ET-2850, and on paper it's one of those products that sounds almost too practical. A wireless all-in-one printer that scans, copies, prints, does double-sided printing, and most importantly, doesn't use cartridges. And if you've ever owned a printer before, you already know why that matters. Printers have kind of had a reputation problem for years. The hardware itself is usually fine, but the moment you start buying in cartridges, that's where things get expensive fast. Sometimes you end up spending more on ink than the actual printer over time. So Epson's idea here is simple. Instead of tiny expensive cartridges, you get these refillable ink tanks that you top up manually. And yeah, it sounds a little messy at first, but in practice it's actually pretty straightforward. Setting it up is where you first notice the difference. Instead of snapping in cartridges, you're filling these color-coded tanks from bottles. Black, cyan, magenta, yellow. Each one clicks in cleanly and fills without a lot of hassle. There's something almost satisfying about seeing the ink levels full and knowing you're not going to be swapping cartridges every few weeks. Once you get it connected over Wi-Fi, the ET-2850 basically behaves like a modern smart device. You can print from your phone, laptop, or tablet without needing cables. AirPrint, wireless printing, app control, it's all here. And in 2026, that's not really a luxury anymore, it's expected. Now when it comes to print quality, this is where things get interesting. For everyday documents, schoolwork, office PDFs, web pages, it's solid. Text is sharp, readable, and consistent. You're not going to complain about clarity or smudging. For color prints like photos or presentations, it does a respectable job, especially considering this is more of a home office printer than a professional photo machine. It's not trying to compete with high-end photo printers, and that's important to understand. It's aiming for reliable, cost-efficient printing, not gallery-level color accuracy. The scanning and copying features are also exactly what you'd expect. They're not flashy, but they're dependable. You place a document, scan it through the app or the control panel, and it gets the job done without drama. And for most people, that's really all you need. One of the standout features here is automatic double-sided printing. It sounds small, but it adds up fast if you're printing multiple pages regularly. Less paper waste, less manual flipping, and just a more efficient workflow overall. Now let's talk about the real reason people consider EcoTank in the first place. Cost per page. This is where Epson really pushes the value proposition. Instead of constantly replacing cartridges, you're refilling ink bottles that last significantly longer. Over time, that can drastically reduce your printing costs. If you print even moderately, school assignments, documents, shipping labels, photos, you'll probably notice the savings sooner than you expect. Of course, it's not perfect. The upfront cost is higher than basic cartridge printers. And if you rarely print anything, you might not fully benefit from the EcoTank system. But if you're the kind of user who prints regularly, that trade-off starts to make a lot more sense. Design-wise, it's very functional. Clean, minimal, mostly white, and built to sit quietly on a desk without drawing attention. It's not trying to look like a premium gadget. It's trying to be a reliable tool. And that's kind of the theme with the ET-2850. It doesn't try to impress you with flashy features. It just focuses on removing friction from something that's traditionally been more frustrating than it should be. So the real question is, who is this for? If you're a student, a home office user, or someone running a small business setup, this is exactly the kind of printer that makes sense long-term. You set it up once, refill ink occasionally, and forget about the constant cartridge problem entirely. But if you're someone who prints once every few months, it might be more than you need. At the end of the day, the Epson EcoTank ET-2850 is less about reinventing printing and more about fixing what's been annoying about it for years. And that alone makes it worth a closer look. If you want to check it out, the link is in the description.